This is Algebra 1, Semester 2. It's a unit called Inequalities Review. It's the lesson number 1, Number Lines and Set Notation Practice. It's on creatormath.com under the Algebra 1 tab. You might have to type in creatormath.weebly.com to find the site. The instructions are copy the following problems into your composition book on the correct pages according to the table of contents with the notes for those pages from creatormath.com. So I always try to model for you how to find those notes because that can be difficult for students, especially at first. Let's go here, let's go here, here. All right, here's the actual website name, creatormath.weebly.com. Here's, if you type that into Google, hopefully you can get to this homepage. If you're having any trouble with the composition book, please scroll down on that homepage, find the words composition book, which I just passed. Read all the instructions, watch all the videos, adhere to the due dates, and put everything on the pages it belongs, including the notes, which I'm going to move to the tab for that. Okay, there we go. On the tab of the class, you will find 5 things. You will find the notes, the practice sets like we're going to do now, the video of how to do the practice sets like we're making now, the page numbers on which the notes go in your composition book, and the vocabulary PDF, which has all of the vocabulary for the entire school year. This PDF is downloadable to your device and is searchable with your device. Just Google how do I search a PDF with whatever type of device you're on. The instructions for each type of device is a little bit different. Just follow those directions. Now we're going to scroll to the semester that is appropriate. Make sure you're in the right semester. This one is the one I'm doing now, so that's where we are. Under the semester is the table of contents for that semester. Why is the table of contents so important? Well, let's put it this way. I ask you to write the entire table of contents. It's about 3.5 pages on the pages 2 through 6 of your composition book. Why? Because it has all of the page numbers of where everything goes for the entire semester. Without that, it's kind of hard to keep everything organized and put it in the right place. All right? So now we're going to scroll down to the unit we're in. This one's called Inequalities Review. There it is right there. So here's the unit, and these are lessons within it. The lesson we're looking at is number 1 right here, Number Lines and Set Notation. Here are the page numbers on which the notes go, and I'll go back and make sure the notes are uploaded there. And I'll make a note to myself here. Notes on the TOC. Okay, so I'll make sure to fix that for you. And they might need there. They might be there. I just need to update it, all right? Anyway, the notes go on these pages. Please don't take this video's word for it, but go back and find the table of contents. At the time you're watching this, these page numbers might have changed. This is the problem set we're doing now, and the video will be linked right here. With that said, we're going to move to the actual problems and work through them. Given the following, how is it read? This is 5 is greater than 2. Okay, so this is just review practice on how to read an inequality. 5 is greater than 2. Notice the large side is to the 5. That's why we say greater than. Read the next one. It says given. -1 is less than 4. Notice the small side is close to the smaller number. So -1 is less than 4. -2 is greater than -6. Notice the greater side is to the -2, so we read it in that direction. Notice this could be reversed too. If you flip the whole thing, it comes out -6. You would flip the sign too, keeping the small side to the smaller number, right? And put the -2 here. You could read this -6 is less than -2, and that's a true statement also. So you can flip inequalities just like you can equations. Just make sure to flip the sign also. Flipping an equation is kind of deceptive because you don't see the flipping of the equals, right? If I say 3 is equal to 3 and then I flip it and say 3 is equal to 3, you can't see that this equals flipped also along with the numbers, right? Anyway, so given -8 is less than -3, given 5 is greater than or equal to 5. 5 is greater than or equal to 5. Practice reading it. Read it without the answer, and then just make sure you remember how to read these. Most students, remember, this is a review unit, so we did it in the fall semester, now we're doing it in the spring, and most students knew how to read these before high school algebra, so that's review. Given 4 is less than or equal to 9. 4 is less than or equal to 9. Given this, how is it read? Greater than. Given it's the symbols this way, it's read less than. All right, just remember it. Some teachers tell the story about, oh, the alligator's eating the bigger number, and I don't know. I forget those. Just remember how it is. Given greater than or equal to, so greater than or equal to is how you read it. Less than or equal to is how you read it. Okay, it looks like that. This one looks like this. On a number line, what does an open dot mean? So if we're on a number line, and say this is 5, and there's an open dot, it means this number is not included. The value is excluded. Excluded means not included. So like say it went off to the right, x would be greater than 5. Okay, it's not including 5. It's everything above 5 that's greater than, right? You would need an equal to here to have, and now a solid dot. On a number line, what does a solid dot mean? It means the value is included. So if this were 5 and it's everything to the right of this, right, and it's solid, now you say x is greater than or equal to 5 because the value of 5 is included, the opposite of excluded. Okay. Now we go into set notation here. Given a parentheses, what does it mean? And it would be nice if it said in set notation. In set notation, which I can't write very well. So the value is excluded. So let's say it's the same thing we started with. We've got 5. It's an open dot, everything to the right. What we could write here is parentheses 5, comma, plus infinity, parentheses. This is set notation. It means from 5 on up, not including the 5 because it's a parentheses. Okay, what's it mean if it's a bracket? Now, same thing, take our solid dot at 5, going off to the right, and there's a bracket now. You can say 5, comma, plus infinity. This is, and this needs to be a parentheses because infinity is not a number, you can't include it. But this bracket says the 5 is included. It's a solid dot. It's from 5 up, including the 5, all right? The value is included. The value is excluded with a parentheses, included with a bracket in set notation. Given this, positive infinity, what is it? Positive infinity. So remember the number line. This is 0. If you go off to the right, it's positive infinity. If you go off to the left, it is negative infinity, right? Ever increasing numbers in one direction or the other, either to the positive numbers or to the negative. So negative infinity means you're ever getting larger in a negative capacity. Okay, all right. Is infinity a number? No, infinity is a concept. All right, so this is infinity. Most of you know this. It is review. Infinity is a concept. It's an ever-increasing, or in the case of negative numbers, decreasing number. And if I said a billion to you, is that infinity? No, a billion is a number. Infinity is not a number. It's a concept, you guys. So what if I said 10 billion? Well, what if I said a zillion? That's just one number on the way to infinity. The concept of infinity is ever-increasing numbers, either positive or negative, without end. Okay, and you can only see it in your brain, right, because you're conceiving that idea. You can't actually write the number. Once you write it, that's a number. That's not infinity. All right. So, given the following number line, how can we express it as being communicated in inequality set notation? Oh, inequality and set notation. So, let's look at this. See how it's open? This is negative 3. So that's not including that number. So it's a parentheses negative 3, comma, off to the right forever, plus infinity, and it's not a number, so parentheses. So this one, negative 3, comma, positive infinity. Now, what's another way to write it? You could say x is greater than negative 3. Done. Right here. It does not include the value because it's an open dot. Fair enough? Now, I think they just go and redo the same one, but they include it with a solid dot. Okay, so here it is in negative 3 again. Now we need a bracket, negative 3, comma, plus infinity, parentheses. Can't include the number, this one here. Bracket means the negative 3 is included. How do we write it? We must say x is greater than or equal to negative 3. It goes off to the right forever to plus infinity, right? So it's x is greater than negative 3 and equal to, because it's solid, it includes that value. I don't know how challenging or not challenging this is. It's just notation practice, so you can use this in our discussions and other practice sets as you get into the other lessons. Given the following notation, all right, what do we got here? Open dot at 2. We can't include it. So parentheses 2, and which way is it going forever? Negative infinity, and it's got to be a parentheses. So parentheses negative infinity, comma 2. Check. And x is less than everything from 2 down. So x is less than 2. If it's a solid dot now with the same thing at 2, it's going to be a bracket on the 2 because the 2 is included, comma negative infinity. And notice my brain works backwards. It's starting this way, going in the shape of the in the direction of the arrow. I'm starting with the 2 and including it because of the solid dot. Then my brain is working backwards. I didn't write it from left to right. I wrote it from right to left because that's the way this thing looks to me graphically, right? So now we're going to say x is less than everything. This one I can write this way. It's less than or equal to 2. Right here, this one here. So make sure you're matching up the title of the video with the problem set. Otherwise, it's not going to make much sense to you. This is Algebra 1, Semester 2. It's a unit called Inequalities. It is a, Inequalities Review is the name of the unit, unit number 6. And it is lesson number 1 within it, number lines and set notation practice. It's all on creatormath.com under the Algebra 1 tab. Hope this helps.